My name is Jamin Goecker. I'm a realtor in South Central Alaska, and my mission is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching you in real estate. And today, what we're doing is we're just answering a lot of the questions that come in through the comment section. I just wanted to take some time, kind of answer in public a lot of these questions that do come in here in the comment section. I do take time to read it. I may or may not have time to sit down and answer the questions all the time, just because I have a full real estate business going on at the same time here that I'm creating all this content. But I did want to take some time and kind of acknowledge and honor the people that are taking the time to post comments. So let's go and start with comment number 1. What areas, this is coming in from Honey Roland. I'm talking on the video, the 5 best places to retire in Alaska. She asks, what areas are recommended for families with teens who are homesteaders on a small farm? Really the area that kind of comes to mind initially is probably going to be Palmer. Just anytime you're talking about farm life, that's really kind of the big agriculture kind of area in general. I'm also just curious if you guys are, currently living on a homestead that's currently your lifestyle, or if this is going to be a whole new move to you. That might change my answer a little bit, but if you're talking about farms in general, that's kind of making me think of Palmer. The second question we have comes in from Steve K, commenting on a podcast clip that we put on here, why have some rentals gone up so much in Alaska? His comment is, taking all of this into consideration, I wonder if it makes more sense for someone who's planning to be in Alaska for about a year to rent or purchase if they are able to, with the knowledge that they would be selling within a year. That's kind of a tough one. If you are really only looking at a year, I think it's probably going to be better if you actually rent, if you know for sure you're only going to be here for a year. And now if you have people where they're here for 2-3 years, I'm getting more comfortable. But just a year, it's a very quick turnaround. Lately, you've been able to do it just fine, but you're really not guaranteed you're going to be able to break even all the time. Now, there's going to be certain benefits of buying over renting, and not the least of which is, even if you do end up losing a little bit of money, it's probably not going to be nearly as much as though you just rented for all 12 months. So sit down, run the numbers, figure out at the current rate of appreciation if you'd be able to break even, and if you couldn't, then figure out how much of a wash you'd be willing to take before it makes more of a sense for you to just look at renting instead. Renting is not a bad option for some people if you need a lot of flexibility and there's not a whole lot of clarity in what it is that your future looks like. So just a thought. It also depends on the asset class. If you are buying a multifamily property that can just continue earning money even when you're not here, a condo is also not a terrible option either, just because it's a low price point to begin with. Now, the next question comes in from Shane Johnson. Now, he had a great comment talking about the 6 types of people who should not move to Alaska. And he says, I tell you, all the titles about not coming to Alaska is not fitting of trying to actually get people to come to Alaska. I subscribe to you because I love Alaska and plan to buy there. I am not so sure your messages are the way. So glad he brought this up, because this really does give me the chance to kind of highlight one of my philosophies behind the channel, and that is that I want to be very upfront with everybody about the negatives of moving to Alaska, because there's a lot of content out there that kind of paints this fantasy world that says Alaska is just this perfect utopia. And I want to make sure that everyone who does work with me, they have all the information in front of them, so they really do have a good sense of, okay, this is what I can expect. When it's in the dead of winter and there's not a lot of sunlight, they're like, oh yeah, that's okay. I totally expected that. The number of people who work with me and then end up moving within a year or so, pretty small, a lot smaller than the average, because we're very upfront with all this stuff, and I want to make sure you guys are very well informed. Now, this next question comes from Laura O'Neill, and this was just a direct question with a post that I put on the community section. If you don't respond to those, certainly do make sure you do so. You get a disproportionate ability to influence what content is being put out here. But her question is Alaska still paying people $30,000 to live there? I'm not sure where this myth began, but no, absolutely not. They never have, and to the best of my knowledge, they never have. And they're certainly not doing that now. They have the permanent fund dividend, but at max, that's going to be like $3,400 per person. And you have to be here for an entire year, so it's certainly not going to be worth you're not going to have like a part-time income coming in just from that. It's just not going to cut it. Even if you have a large family, it's like, well, yeah, we had like 3 kids and we got all this money. It's like, well, you've got 3 kids. Like, your expenses are so much higher than everyone's else's, so that's not going to go as far as you think. And $3,400 was like the highest it's ever been. Usually it's closer to about $1,100 or $1,200 per person in your household. Let's take a break real quick. If you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you do know that I focus primarily on the South Central Alaska area. And while that's going to remain the case moving forward, we are actually going to be partnering with our colleagues across the entire state to bring you market updates for what's going on inside the markets of each one of the big market centers here in the state of Alaska, looking at Fairbanks, Kenai, Homer, Kodiak, and Juneau/the Southeast area. So this is going to be a very exciting project called the Trailblazer Project. I've not seen this done in any other state before, where we are bringing you all the market updates for the entire state under the roof of one channel. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So when you guys are seeing market updates coming from people who aren't just me on the channel, you know what's going on there. If you guys are really nice, then we might actually be able to convince some of these folks to actually provide some more content and talk specifically about what it's like living in their market. So when you see these videos pop up, make sure to jump over there, give them plenty of likes, plenty of love, give them lots of comments. And just know that that's fulfilling kind of the mission we still have on the YouTube channel to help you build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching you in real estate, whether that be in South Central Alaska or anywhere else in Alaska that we have our colleagues in at the moment. So just want to make you aware of that, and let's go and finish today's video. The next question comes from Run Your Race to Finish, and his question was on the video, don't move to Alaska, 10 reasons not to move to Alaska isn't for everyone. And I gave like the 10 reasons, and then he went on and said, number 11, mosquitoes and white socks. Number 12, swamps. Number 13, wind like you never imagined. Kind of depends where you're at. Number 14, must be proficient with a snow shovel or snowblower. That helps too. Number 15, certain areas rain, and more rain. That is true. Number 16, if you are a single woman, the odds are good, but the goods are odd. Very true. Very true. I hear that all the time. Number 17, you must become a sourdough on Alaska and not enough dough to leave. Oh, okay, I get that. Number 18, remember we don't care how much they do it in the lower 48. Number 19, Alaska is what America was, so if you don't believe in individual rights, you won't fit in. And number 20, I've lived in Alaska 41 years, and the winters only get longer, so plan on a vacation in Hawaii or someplace warm in the winter to get thawed out. Very sage advice. Very sage advice from someone who's lived here for 41 years, so I'm glad that we didn't have any disagreements there. I'd have to check myself. Now, this next comment I thought was really on point, and this comes from Obsidian, and he was commenting on a video that's talking about the top reasons people are leaving Alaska. This one's a little bit longer, so I'll make it as short as I can. So for anyone who is looking at Alaska to be in isolation, please consider other parts of the country first before committing to Alaska. I'm not saying that you shouldn't come here, but you can find isolation in mainland America and less populated parts of the country where you can easily visit people you know, family, friends, coworkers, etc. Alaska and Hawaii both have this issue where it can be very difficult to visit people you missed when you come to these states, and it can be hard if you don't have a support network. I strongly suggest visiting and even taking a temporary job first before coming to Alaska, Hawaii, or Puerto Rico, or some other place off mainland U.S. There are states like Idaho, Utah, Montana, South Dakota, etc. if you want and are looking for that isolation while still being connected to mainland. So this is a very good point if you're just trying to get distance and just trying to get some isolation, and that's really the only thing you're going for. Alaska is going to be a great option, but it's not the only one, is really what he's saying there. So very, very sage points, and I think you should definitely consider that if you are considering moving here. All right, so this next one comes in from AJF, commenting how to know if moving to Alaska is a mistake for you, from someone who actually lives here. And it is, I thought Alaska is for introverted, antisocial people. Well, something to be said for that. Not going to lie. I think there definitely is something to be said for that. Not everybody can't make such a sweeping generalization, but, probably more right than wrong, if we're being honest. All right, we're going to finish up our comment section in just a second here. Before we go ahead and do that, though, if you're considering moving to Alaska, do make sure to go into the description section down below. I have a link to my website, and you can go ahead and go register in there in the little comment section, put relocation guide, and I'll go ahead and send you a free copy of my relocation guide. How many times can I say relocation guide in one sentence? For you to go ahead and download and go ahead and start getting a feel for what Alaska is like. Now, let's go and finish up today's video talking about the comment section. Now, the next question comes from Chris Johnson, and he's talking on a video that's titled The Top Reasons People Are Leaving Alaska. Again, this one's a little longer. I'll try to make it as quick as possible. I lived in Alaska for 7 years and just recently moved out. Do yourself a favor and don't go. Okay, so the state itself is beautiful, but living there is a nightmare. There's like 10 guys for every one female, and plan on lowering your standards a lot. The cost of living is through the roof, and shelves are routinely empty. There is a large amount of crime, gangs, homelessness, and drugs. The words customer service doesn't exist up there, and I hope you like darkness because there's plenty of it. Yes, there are positive things to living up there, but they just don't seem to outweigh the negative. So seriously consider the things I just mentioned because they are all very real. So thank you for your comment. Those things are definitely up here, and ultimately what you choose to focus on is going to expand. If all you're seeing are those things and all you're focusing on those things, then that is going to be the only thing you see, and it's very hard to see anything else. That being said, Alaska is not for everybody, and those are going to be the negatives, and if the positives don't outweigh those, then it's going to be a pretty rough go of it for you. That being said, I would be interested where exactly he lived, because I mean, the issues I'm hearing are kind of the negatives of all the different areas just like combined into one. So it's like, did you live everywhere simultaneously? Because those are the negatives collected all over the state, and I'm not hearing a whole lot of the positives from the entire state there to balance that out either. But I do thank you for your comment, though. I want to make sure people know what they're getting into. Now, the next question comes from Claudia Campos on the video, Moving to Alaska, How to Get Here Without Going Broke. And in this one, she says, my husband today said he wouldn't mind moving to Alaska after I mentioned it a couple of times. 3 to 5 million timer. I'm so excited for this. It might take us some time. I'm thinking it more of a 2 to 3 year process. We have to get down to selling our stuff and work situated. I'm fully remote, but he isn't yet. I'm so excited. This video was really informative for the beginning stages of my research. That is super exciting, and I cannot wait to see you guys when you do move up here. It is absolutely awesome state, and don't let all the negative stuff that we're talking about here deter you or talk you out of it. There's going to be negative no matter where you go, and you just have to choose on what it is that you're going to be focusing on and, cleave to that. We're going to do just a couple more questions here. So this is going to be coming in from Pretty Pink 2 Ups, I believe is what that is. Oh, Pretty Pink Tulips. There we go. I get it. Okay. And she's commenting on how expensive is it to live in Alaska. And her comment is, okay, here's my question. I'm in Sitka, resident now, but from Washington State. And I want to know, is all of the tap water in Alaska that isn't in Sitka some shade of brown or another, with some variety of foam or scum or bubbles or I don't know what? I've been to Ikuk, Dillingham, Kenai, California, and Anchorage, and nowhere is it clean, clear, odors-free like Sitka. I want to know if it really is everywhere. So is it? Save me some time, travel, effort, and tell me what you think about brown Alaska municipal water or not, please. I'm not sure exactly where you're going to find this water. I've not really experienced brown, like the water that you're describing, really anywhere in Alaska. Well, I take that back. There's one place in Anchorage. I'm not going to say the specific area because that's rude. But there's one specific area in Anchorage where I was like, man, the water really, it's not great here. Like I had to go buy some water. I was staying there for a couple days. I ended up staying there like one night and I was like, no mas, I'm out of here. But by and large, the water quality is going to be a lot better here than anywhere you're going to find in the lower 48 in my experience. It kind of depends which properties you're going to, which well you're getting it out of. By and large, I mean, if you've not tried drinking in the lower 48 recently, you probably don't fully appreciate how good our water quality is here comparatively to the lower 48. But let's go ahead and take one more question. So this question is coming in from, I know I'm going to mispronounce this, Brohimid. And he was commenting on Wasilla and Palmer, Alaska's real estate market update from November 4th, 2022. And he said, the thing about the Mat-Su is there are great homes, there are nice pieces of land, and a ton of trees and greenery that create that vibe that makes you want to never leave home. But there are also some areas where the slap-together homes are all squished together right next to each other on puny lots with almost no yard, few trees, and you can see into your neighbor's home from yours. If you want to live that, why live in Alaska at all? You can live suburban all over the lower 48 and not deal with the northern winters. I had always hoped that the Mat-Su would stay immune from developers. Well, I can certainly empathize with that. Unfortunately, that's just kind of the way that civilization is going to go here. Regardless where you're at, civilization is going to catch up with you from one degree to another. I will say it's all going to be based off of what you're used to. I used to live in Eagle River not too long ago, and I moved out here to Wasilla. I've got an acre lot out here, and it certainly had some more space to it. I was like, okay, this is nice. Like, it's not that much different. And then I went and lived in Eagle River, house sitting for somebody for about a week, and I was like, holy cows! The houses here in Eagle River are much closer to each other than what I'm used to at this point. And that's not to say one is good, one is bad. Like, they're both perfectly fine. I'd be perfectly content in Eagle River just the way that I am out here in the Mat-Su Valley. There's different pros and cons. But yeah, it's the thing you got to keep in mind, though, is if you are living kind of that suburban life in Alaska, you are still going to be able to go visit other areas that are close by, because it's Alaska and everything is just a drive or a plane ride away. So yeah, I would say if you are looking at moving to Alaska and you want to find something that's suburban, you're not going to miss out on the entire experience. If you do want to have all that privacy, there's going to be plenty of room, and just make sure you kind of cognizant, like he's alluding to here, there's more development going on. So you just have to think, like, what is this area going to look like in the next 10, 20 years down the road? So that has been answering your questions from the comment section. I hope it's been useful. Do make sure you keep those comments coming. They really do help the channel out quite a bit. I do appreciate all your added insights and perspectives you guys include in there. So please do make sure you keep those coming. I try to make sure we keep these videos as positive as possible while also delivering the facts to you that you're going to need to make the best decision for you and your family. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.